it's just me talking. Let me get set up here. So yes, hello everyone. My name is Frank Barnhart, and I am an associate professor in the humanities department and the lead instructor of theater. So first, for all of you who are listening, I would like for you to take a moment, close your eyes, and just listen. And try to create a mental picture in your mind of the narrator as he tells you his story. So are we ready? So here goes. Let me tell y'all a bit about myself. I grew up in Southern Ohio, right on the border of Kentucky and West Virginia. We lived on about an acre of land with lots of trees, bushes, and hills. There was a creek that had men swimming in it every summer and a holler right across the way where my best friend lived. Mom hung the washing on the line every summer. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Those summers that would get so hot that the tar would just tube up on the road. Well, for me, this is what I thought life was like for everyone. Well, then I went to college and I learned my figuring was wrong. You can open your eyes now. So what mental picture did you have as you were listening to the narrator? Did you see a Gomer Pyle or an Andy Griffith type character? Did you imagine Cletus the slack-jawed yokel from The Simpsons? Or maybe it was a character from the recent movie Hillbilly Elegy. I ask because that little speech is not from a play or a short story. It's a brief retelling of my life as a teenager, and that accent is how I talked before I went to college. It's how everyone, more or less, talks where I grew up. I never thought that my accent was wrong. I didn't even know that I had an accent, but as a theater major at Ohio University, it was demanded that I lose it. I was told that I spoke with a subpar dialect that was inappropriate for the stage, and that I would have to change the way that I spoke if I ever hoped to be taken seriously as a performer. I was trained in the technique of standard American English. The term standard American English refers to a variation of the English language that's generally used in professional communication in the United States and taught in American schools. According to linguists William Kretschmar and Charles Meyer, standard American English is not a myth, but it is not identical with the language of any natural population of speakers. It is a very real institutional construct that has attracted the loyalty of a committed group of speakers who claim that they speak it. So you see, standard American English is an illusion. There is no area in the United States whose citizens naturally speak standard American English. The book, American English, Dialects and Variations, states, if we took a sample of everyday conversational speech, we would find that there are virtually no speakers who consistently speak formal standard English as prescribed in the grammar books. In fact, it is not unusual for the same person who prescribes a formal standard English form to violate standard usage in ordinary conversation. So where did this concept of standard American English come from, and why is it so important in the fields of performance and communication? At one time, standard American English was referred to as the mid-Atlantic accent or the transatlantic accent. According to the article, The Surprising Life of Language in the Media by John Wiley, standard American English is a cultivated accent of English, blending together features of both American and British English that were considered the most prestigious by the early 20th century American upper class and entertainment industry. It is not a native or regional accent. Rather, according to the voice and drama professor Dudley Knight, it is an affected set of speech patterns whose chief quality was that no Americans actually spoke it unless educated to do so. So as a result, actors, newscasters, and professional speakers in various fields are educated in the technique of standard American English in order to sound American, without sounding like they're from any particular part of America. And the use of standard American English influences both speaker and listener. It perpetuates our cultural biases with language association. Nick Cornell from the American Accent Guide says that linguistically, it's not simply about clarity, but also status, intelligence, socioeconomic influence, and general power. As listeners, we absorb our unconscious biases about people based on the sounds they speak with as much as we do about the way they look or behave. In 8 Harmful Examples of Standard American English Privilege by Andrew Hernandez, we learn that through Standard American English, you're assumed to be intelligent, educated, and nonviolent because your accent is positively represented on TV and in film.